The Golden State Warriors got curb stomped by the Memphis Grizzlies, 144 to 93. So this was like a 51 point loss and a very humiliating loss for the Warriors. Stephen Curry and Draymond Green combined for 2 points. I don't think we ever thought we would ever see this type of combination before, where both of them only combined for 2 points. That would have been unheard of just even 3, 4 years ago. Usually in this combination, you would expect Draymond to have some nights where he's scoreless because he's not a scorer. Just he doesn't have that ability. And outside of passing, he pretty much has nothing to offer. So just yeah, it was an empty night for Draymond. Just a big nothing, a big zero, which he's been a zero for a while if we're thinking about it when it comes to having actual NBA talent. But he's been able to swindle the Warriors out of over $100 million the last few years. So good on him for that. I just had to throw that barb out there against him. But Curry, going back to him, he made history in this game. He had, let me just pull it up. There was an interesting stat line. He was the first player in NBA history to play 24 minutes or more and to have attempted 7 field goals, but to have not made any of them and to lose by 50. So Curry holds that record now, a humiliating record, something he probably likes to forget. I don't see anything positive out of this loss the Warriors can find. Granted, you're rarely going to find anything positive out of losing by 51 points, but this to me is another indicator that the Warriors are finished. They're done. I've said this for a while, that they're a washed up team. Now, Curry, I wouldn't necessarily say he's washed up yet, but it's not looking good for him. He's no longer an MVP caliber player. I've said this for a while in some of my past videos that this guy's prime is over. He can still be a good player, and on some nights he'll look like his old self, the MVP player he once was, but on most nights he's not going to be able to channel it. So he's at this point where he doesn't have the ability to carry a team consistently on his back, which is trouble for the Warriors. They're just in a bad situation. One thing I've observed about Steph all year is that he's having difficulty getting separation from defenders like he used to when he was able to cross them up and create the space to get his shot off. It's more difficult now for him to do that. Also for him to run around screens, it's not as easy as it used to be. His age is starting to slow up. He's hampered. I remember hearing about how I believe he's been battling tendonitis in both of his knees, and this is like the first time in his career he's dealing with this type of stuff when it comes to his knees giving him problems. That's usually the first sign of being an old player, is when your knees start bothering you. So he's definitely heading towards a great decline, I would say. This is just the first stages of it. And Warrior fans just better embrace for it. It's not going to be pretty. It's going to be difficult for them to watch, I'm sure. Obviously for me, not, because this man destroyed the NBA. He's a big reason why we have this 3-point chucking contest we have today. I know I sound like a hater, but I've also acknowledged that Curry has been one of the greatest players of his generation. So I can give him his props. But at the same time, I hate his game. And yes, I am enjoying the decline. And I don't think it's going to get any better for him at this point in time. So he will play out the next few years. I think he will play out his contract. But once his contract is over, I just don't see him continuing to play beyond just the age of 40 like LeBron is doing right now. But to me, just his struggles is just another sign of the old guard is finally going down. And when I refer to the old guard, I refer to them as Curry, LeBron, Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kawhi Leonard. Those guys are really the old guard, just of the previous generation that has carried the NBA for the last, I would say, 10, 15 years. So yeah, that's the way I look at it. But this is a very humiliating loss. I do think the Warriors will get desperate now, and I expect them to make a big trade come All-Star break to save their team. I don't think there's any trade that can save them, but when you have hubris like the Warriors organization does, you definitely believe that you can pull off a miracle trade, because they were able to do that before when they got Kevin Durant. So I'm sure they're hoping for some miracle, something to save them, but there's nothing that can save them. It's just written now that they're never going to contend with Curry again because he's no longer the player he once was. And to contend again, they would have to get a player like a Luka or a Giannis or a Jokic, someone who's even greater than Steph. So they're not going to get that, and they're finished. Just put a fork in them, as they would say. That's all I had to say.